Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Discussions. Welcome to our show. I am your host, James Parana Madonna, along with my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. We are coming to you live from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. It is a beautiful April the 2nd, Saturday afternoon, April the 2nd, 2011, and the buds are finally emerging from the trees, you know, and I think as of tomorrow the deep freeze temperatures at night will officially end. How are you today, Dr. Bill?
I'm fine. Excellent. However, it is 2 weeks into spring, you know, tomorrow.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known it from the past few weeks, you know, but excuse me while I put my reading glasses on. Here's my prop, my mascot, authentic, imported from Ireland, blackthorn weapons grade shillelagh, the kind that the British banned because they were oppressing the Irish so much they just didn't want them to have any power whatsoever. And this is what is going on today in America with the conservative promoted global corporate plutocracy. Well, they want it to be global, and they want to take away your rights, and they want to emasculate the masses and turn you into slaves eventually. But you'll hear more about that when you watch our other video shows and this video. Anyway, this is the prop, symbolic of the oppression of the little guy by the fat cats. Weapons grade blackthorn shillelagh, very solid, very effective
for bopping on the head,
for cracking the heads of right-wing conservative Republicans. But it's not just Republicans, because we have Democrats now, because the two-party system has sold you out, the American voter. Okay, let me rest the shillelagh down somewhere. All right, now get down to business. You know, I'm going to start with light things before I start talking about heavy-duty things. In my opinion, Americans are a joke to the world. We really are. We must be a real laughing stock with all the antics that goes on in the United States. Let's start off with Rutgers University here in the Garden State of New Jersey paying MTV's Jersey Shore star, and I really don't know why she is such a superstar, because she has no talent. Snookie is receiving $32,000 for speaking in front of I assume Rutgers University students to talk about her hair and her makeup or whatever, and doing her laundry or whatever else Snookie talks about. I mean, she's getting paid a lot more money than anyone that ever spoke at Rutgers University, including professors and people of importance and people of high intellect, education, so on and so on.
You mean people with minds?
People with minds, but Snookie's getting 32 grand to speak to students. 32 grand. Snookie, only in America. Okay? Only in America. Now, I don't know why the people in charge at Rutgers agreed to pay her this amount.
Actually, the students wanted it, though. It was student-driven.
Isn't it similar to the fact that, you know, with Kate Perry doing that new freaky video to ghetto rap music, and because rap music sells and anything associated with the ghetto sells today, could it be collectively an example of how the younger generation in modern day 21st century in America is deteriorating, the downgrading, the degradation of our society when they start embracing things that are frivolous or stupid or self-destructive or just plain unimportant, instead of embracing things that are important?
I see a lot of that online. You'll see that the ladies don't want to do homework.
No, today's younger people are flat out lazy. They rather cheat, get somebody else to do it, hire some geek to do their studying for them. But anyway, well, like you were telling me the other day, Wednesday, I think. Americans foolishly think with their emotions and not with their minds. That's probably why the stupidest, most asinine videos get the most hits on the internet, number one. That's probably why the conservatives took over the House of Representatives. That's the problem. That's the problem. Compared to the rest of the world, Americans do not think with their minds. They think with their gut, their emotions, and that's what gets them into trouble.
Especially if their emotions are screwed up.
That's right.
Like
dysfunctional backgrounds.
I was discussing the other day with Mr. Michael Tamel.
Yeah. Okay.
And we were discussing how it seems that conservatives and Republicans, they grow up without a moral compass. There's no empathy.
Right.
It's like some form of autism.
Right.
You know, or sociopathology or something. They grow up without this ability.
Right.
To feel for the other.
Lack of empathy, lack of...
Yeah.
In other words, it's like a pathological personality.
Obviously it's pathological, but because it's not normal. But what causes it, you know, we're not sure of. But it seems that that's what happens to them. They grow up with this Ayn Rand pathology.
Is that what you were telling me, that the young people graduating from Harvard Business School would sell their own mother and grandparents out?
Yeah.
For success?
Yeah.
To achieve success? Interesting. Yeah, they would. Isn't that the same reason why people would just step over a homeless person sleeping in the gutter, or a dead body in New York City lying in the gutter, and not even calling 911 and saying, oh, by the way, I think something's wrong with this guy laying in the gutter? Nobody does anything. They just step over the body. Lack of empathy, like you were saying. But doesn't it say that in the Bible, in Timothy?
Timothy, yeah. 2 Timothy, I think, goes into, we will be lovers of the self, and we will be without compassion, we will be without empathy, and
people,
et cetera, et cetera.
People will grow cold, their hearts will grow cold. Yeah, people will get colder and colder. Yeah, it's in Bible prophecy. Now, our last light subject, Alex Rodriguez's salary of the New York Yankees, and he didn't do that great last year, by the way, surpasses Alex Rodriguez's salary alone surpasses the entire payroll of the Kansas City Royals Major League Baseball team. Alone!
That's amazing.
And of course, he and his new squeeze there, his new girlfriend, Cameron Diaz, is thinking of making a movie together. They want to make a movie, and Cameron Diaz, the one that likes to feed her little buttercup when the paparazzi cameras are pointing in their direction. Okay, like a little baby. I'm surprised she doesn't burp him and wipe his mouth and
change his diaper.
Maybe she. Wait a minute.
Maybe.
With all the fetishes now that we have today, the sexual fetishes, maybe she does.
It could be.
But Cameron Diaz, was there at spring training to watch her boyfriend, and I don't know if she will be a distraction or an inspiration to motivate him. But you know what? If I was Joe Girardi, the Yankees manager, I would say, you want to do a movie, huh? You want to bring your celebrity girlfriend to the spring training practice? You're talking about movies, you're talking about commercials, you want to go Hollywood? Well, I got news for you. Since you're getting paid more money than the entire Kansas City Royals baseball team, I suggest that you perform on the field. And forget about Hollywood and movies and
obviously what the salary is for, right? Because of performance.
Right, exactly. That's what they're paid to do, not to fraternize with starlets and divas and entertainers and have your way with every famous celebrity woman who's remotely good looking. And now in this case, he's with. That goes for Derek Jeter, too, the other guy that does a lot of commercials. If I was Joe Girardi, I would say, guys, forget about Hollywood and commercials and movies and starlets. You're getting paid a lot of money.
Concentrate.
A lot of money. You better perform on the field, otherwise you're benched and we're going to trade your ass.
Maybe they need steroids.
Oh, like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, the guy who cheated his way past Hank Aaron's all-time home run record. Meanwhile, honest Hank Aaron was clean, like Babe Ruth and all the legends of the past. Okay, clean. He got that. He acquired the home run record the old-fashioned way, training, hard work, and sheer natural talent. No anabolic steroids. But all the kids now, even with pro wrestling, like we did last week, all the young athletes now want to cheat. They all want everything handed to them.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, instead
Nobody
of
wants to work for it.
doing it the hard way. You know,
like the we
I
call
mean, the right way.
what we say when the singers they finally get success. They paid their dues. Nobody wants to pay their dues these days.
That's right. They don't want to pay their dues anymore.
Right.
Now we're going to get a little serious. General Electric. The CEO of General Electric last year did not pay 1 penny, from what I understand, in federal income taxes. They paid nothing. Now, how much is GE worth? The people who in the past polluted the Hudson River with PCBs. Well, how much are they worth? Are they pretty successful? Are they a blue chip company?
Obviously.
All right, they didn't pay any federal income taxes last year, while the mainstream masses of America, the middle class, the poor,
Make up for it
and took on the tax burden. And GE paid no taxes, but my question to GE and the right-wing Republicans, how many jobs did General Electric create last year in America, since they did not have any tax burden on their shoulders? They paid nothing. How many jobs did GE create?
Well, if you saw that video last night that you sent me,
Yeah.
he has an excuse for that. He has an excuse
really?
that they did create jobs, and they do pay taxes.
So you have GE denying the accusation.
It's either one of those things. Are you going to believe your lying eyes, or are you going to believe the truth?
Well, somebody's
The
lying.
study shows that they didn't pay any taxes. Pure and simple. Period.
Sure.
Okay. No matter what Mr. Immelt says, and he also says and defends Obama for putting him into the council for on creating jobs and etc. The man will create no jobs in the United States. None. Period. And Obama should kick his ass out the door.
Well, I'm waiting for any number of the Democrats in Washington to get in front of a camera and call the CEO of General Electric a flat-out, blatant liar. I'm still waiting for it.
You won't see it.
Because two-party system, they're in bed with the elitists, corporate whores, ass-kissing whores.
Remember, they didn't pay any taxes, but they got subsidies.
There you go, welfare for the rich.
Correct.
Wall Street bailouts. I wouldn't give them a dime. But forget
they don't deserve a dime. If they're a successful company, why are they getting subsidies? The Republicans scream and yell about welfare and unemployment insurance, etc., but they're constantly giving out these handouts to supposedly successful companies.
But if the little guy wants a little help,
why would you reward the successful?
If the
They have the reward.
If the little guy wants a little help, I mean, God, the little guy gets crumbs. What do they get? A little pittance for food stamps, a little pittance for a Medicaid card. You know, if you make $800 a month, you're too wealthy for government subsidized health care. I mean, welfare checks are crap. SSI checks are crap. Social Security disability checks barely keep your nostrils above water. So they do nothing to really help. I mean, the workforce, They only put up $4,000 for you to get trained, in a supposed high-demand occupational career, and then you find out there's no jobs out there in America once you graduate and spend the $4,000. You know, I mean, it's like the government programs are designed to get the politicians elected, pretty much. But speaking,
and they're designed to keep you down. We do not wish to have people on welfare actually become successful.
Well, they don't want that.
They don't want that. Never.
No. So they're anti-entrepreneurialism.
Unless you already have something.
So the fat cats, the establishment, does not like the middle-class people who pull themselves up by the
Calling
bootstraps.
the herd.
And what about entrepreneurs and small businesses? They don't like them either, right? Small businesses?
It depends on whether they have the money to start out with or something like that. They have to be part of their clique.
Right.
Their group, you see.
Now,
it's about 20 or 30%.
Now, speaking of jobs and careers, I was watching on the news that they've admitted that U.S. companies are actually discriminating against unemployed people. You have a better chance to get hired if you already have a job. Well, duh. Where's the jobs? They're outsourced, right? If there's no jobs, it's like a catch-22. There's no before you had to have experience and education to get the job, and you can't get the experience without having the job. It's like now
catch-22.
Catch-22. Now, if you're unemployed because of our wonderful leaders in Washington that created no job market, and even though they say unemployment rate is going down, and
it's going down.
Things are looking great.
But here's the problem.
Yeah, what kind of jobs are they talking about?
Here's the problem. You will never make up the jobs that are gone.
No, they're
gone. I don't
gone.
care how much the unemployment rate goes down. And
they're not coming back.
Let's face it, the real unemployment rate is undersold anyway. It's actually more, not like 8.8% or whatever the hell it went down to. It's more like 22%. It's hidden.
Yeah.
The 99ers are no longer counted, yet they're still unemployed.
Hey, even Donald Trump admitted that they lie about the unemployment rate. So you don't have a job because the job market is in third world countries. And India and China. They're outsourced. There's no jobs, and you can't find a job, and it's not your fault. And you apply multiple times every week. You have a good resume. You have a good background. You can't find a job. Stupid people said to this woman, yeah, my friends and relatives say, you mean to tell me it's been over a year and you haven't found a job yet? Wake up, people. Stop busting the balls of those that are unemployed. There are no jobs out there except for jobs that either pay our minimum wage, dead-end jobs, maybe, if you're lucky.
The slave jobs.
Slave jobs.
Let's admit it.
Or career.
$7.25 is slave wages. The slaves got their housing and their meals, did they not? Well, that's equivalent to the $7.25 an hour, which amounts to $15,000 a year.
Sure.
Who can live on $15,000? It won't even pay rent.
Here's the cost of living that keeps on rising. Here's the average American salary that the Republicans want you to get. They expect you to live on. Here's the dead-end entry-level crap down here. It never coincides, and so if you're unemployed because of reasons that are out of your control, because of our leaders in Washington that created the bad economy, that were forced, I guess, to borrow money from mainland China and all that crap, since it's their fault and it's not your fault, the job market sucks, then the companies turn around, the wonderful corporations and U.S. companies that Republican conservatives love so much, they turn around and discriminate against you for being unemployed by not hiring you.
And don't forget, today they're discriminating against elders.
Because elders have experience and they want the moolah, right? An older person with a great resume and a lot of experience they want to get compensated for their resume, for their background. That's why they always like to hire the kids fresh out of school, fresh out of college, because they work cheap.
I read of a doctor the other day who can't find employment. A doctor from one of these Latin American countries.
Oh, I heard that too. Sure, I heard that too. Doctors can't find them. And it's kind of like the reason why Vince McMahon created the NXT, so he can get rid of the older superstars that want more money. He can replace them with kids. It's typical corporate America. Actually, on Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon purchased an authentic Tyrannosaurus Rex skull for his office, saying that it represents his personality as the ultimate predator. Oh, you know what? Corporate CEOs, corporate American CEOs should use a T-Rex skull as their new symbol. Like the Democrats have the donkey, the Republicans have the elephant. Well, corporate America should have the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull, because that fits the personality of the corporate American CEO. They are the ultimate cold-blooded predator.
Or the poison symbol.
Yeah, like a
crossbones, skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
Because you know why? People just haven't gotten it yet. But the fact of the matter is, what is going on with the corporations today is a national security issue.
Yeah.
Now, what would happen to a country,
right,
whose corporations, who have no allegiance to that country, no patriotism, because they'll go wherever the jobs are and the low taxes are, and etc. They have no allegiance. Well, what happens in wartime? And maybe they have the ability to provide this country with weapons of war, and they don't do it. Is that not a national security issue?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you're an American corporation, then it's America first. Pure and simple.
And that includes outsourcing of jobs.
Correct.
Which is unpatriotic. So-called patriotic Republicans. You hear that? It's unpatriotic. Now...
Hey, where's your lapel, American flag lapel pin? Come on.
You want me? Hey, I got Old Glory behind me. Isn't that enough?
Real patriots, they put the pin on their blue serge suits with their red ties. Come on.
The wizard, the wizard Azibuko is thinking of going into semi-retirement, and he will only do special shows in the dungeon with very special guests. Now, if he does that, I might just hang his skull and crossbones. He might just lend me his skull and crossbones flag, because that is more befitting the underground media and that we represent than this flag. This flag has become representative of the devil's economics, of corporate greed, of the plutocracy. This is the front. This has become the front to ill-gotten gains, to corruption.
The symbol of intolerance with this stupid pastor the other day.
You know what? That is the last article. Before you start reading newspaper articles, Dr. Bill, that is the last thing I was going to bring up. The infamous Southern Baptist right-wing conservative fundamentalist pastor is back. He has returned, and guess what? He turned around and did what he was asked not to do. He had a barbecue outside the church, and he burned the Koran. This asshole, stupid, idiot, selfish motherfucker, pastor, this right-wing piece of shit. He burned the Koran in the barbecue, which is totally bigoted and self-righteous and prejudiced and stupid and intolerant, and condemning an entire culture and religion by going through with it, burning the Quran, and not thinking of the consequences that it will have. And of course, those of you that watch the news know what happened in Afghanistan with the violent protesting that the police cannot control, and people lost their lives, right? Was it a UN building?
It's not only
But that's going to have a domino effect. It's not over.
It's already had an effect before Afghanistan, because you don't see it anymore on the news. But in Iraq,
yeah,
they're killing Christians over there too.
You mean because of the pastor's burning of the Koran?
No, before that. They're just killing Christians because of this intolerance that the so-called Christians in this country have towards Islam.
Not all Christians, just the right-wing fundamentalist, holy roller, religious nuts, like your Christine the Witch O'Donnells and your Pat Robertsons, and the late Jerry Falwell, and who knows? There's a long list of them. They're all conservatives.
Yeah, they're all wrong, and they're all ignorant, and they're all stupid, but they get away with it.
They're self-righteous and
self-righteous,
and they are very close to the old Roman Catholic Inquisition.
Well, yeah.
Same mindset, right?
Yeah. And they get away with it, though. That's the problem.
Now, who the fuck are they? Who are they to force their unbiblical beliefs on other people and condemn a whole race and a whole culture? This is the problem I have with the right-wing fundamentalists going out and so-called witnessing to other people and forcing Christianity on other people. Like, for instance, the gentleman that buried his gay son that got killed in Afghanistan, and then a bunch of right-wing fundamentalist nuts started yelling and shouting and protesting at the funeral?
Yeah. At
the funeral of this man's, son? What disrespect that is.
Yeah, but not only is it disrespect, here's the real problem. And it happened on a personal level with me just a little while ago.
A little while, or back in the day when censorship began?
No, just a few days ago.
Okay.
People, they develop an idea about you or concerning you, just like the so-called Christians do. They have this idea that they understand the Bible, they know what what they should be doing in God's name, etc., etc., etc. And on a personal level, some people, they think they know you, and they listen to somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else tells them something about you, and then they come against you and attack you. And they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
They don't know their Bibles. They don't know it.
On and on and on.
They claim to know the Bible. They claim to be able to interpret the Bible, but they do not know it.
Exactly.
How can someone claim to be an expert and profess self-righteously to be a real Christian and condemn you if they don't even know what's in the book?
They have no idea of the basics, what I call the red thread that runs through the Bible. They have these ideas that are tradition,
yeah,
that have been carried out for hundreds of years, come down from their churches. That's what they believe, and that's what they continue living by, so-called. They don't live by anything, but they claim they live by,
They claim they live by
their church's tenets and stuff like that.
I mean,
it's not true, and those tenets are not in the Bible.
Yeah, this arrogant son of a bitch, this pastor, he has created. It will be a whole chain reaction of disastrous events that will take place.
And not only that, here's another one of the
stupid handlebar mustache that he has. He looks like he looks like a basset hound.
The conservatives do not believe that their words and their actions have results, any results. These guys that when they were having the tea parties,
yeah,
and these guys walking around with AK-47s or on their shoulders or whatever, and they don't think that they're doing anything wrong, or Sarah Palin with her targeting Gifford and other Congress
and what about
with the sights of the gun, you know, etc.
And
they don't think this has any effect.
And what about Governor Brewer, Sarah Palin, and the Republicans in their racial profiling against Hispanics of color in Arizona?
Well, is she married?
Who?
Jan Brewer.
Jan Brewer? I don't know.
Married or not, Jan Brewer is now trying to get through in Arizona a bill that would charge Medicaid patients for being fat.
You know what? I have seen skinflints in my day, but these Republicans, these conservatives take the cake. And you know what? Chris Christie should go over there and stand next to her, next to Jan Brewer, and talk about this, because he's a stingy, miserly bastard. I mean,
A fat one, too.
they look at every damn fucking penny when it comes to mainstream America, the poor, the needy, the little guy, the middle class. They look at every penny, but they don't look at anything, any amount of money when it comes to the elitists, when it comes to corporations, when it comes to Wall Street.
Yeah.
They don't look at any amount of money.
Yeah. Now
That's okay. Corporate welfare is fine.
There's another person, she I think it was, at a group of conservatives the other day, and she's bitching about the kids that get free lunches at school. She's saying,
deny poor children a meal.
well, she's saying that, they must have criminal families, because who the hell can't afford a bowl of cereal and a banana for breakfast?
You know what? Eventually, if after somebody loses their job and they can't find one again, and they lose their home and everything, it'll get to the point where they might not be able to afford a breakfast meal.
Look,
you know?
let's face it, if we got 16,000 veterans out in the woods in tents in Florida, come on, there's a problem. We're not going to blame that problem on laziness.
When the vets are neglected, that put their lives on the line for this country, when they're ignored, and when big problem. There's a big problem, and we're going to take a little break before we start reading the articles, and I'm sure we have some dandies today. It's been a very hectic week, as you could see, with all the topics we've mentioned, but it's incredible. I'm sure the children of these conservative Republican politicians do not miss any meals. I'm sure Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey, does not miss any meals. None of them do.
Have you ever seen any of his kids?
No. Are they well fed?
That's what I was just going to ask.
They look robust like him. I mean, look, they eat the best. Their kids eat the best. Their kids don't go. Go to war. They don't go to Iraq or Afghanistan.
Yeah, well, speaking about eating the best, some Republican congressman or whatever was complaining that he can't make it on his $174,000 salary.
What?
Yeah.
What? He might as well get the crying towel like John Boehner. He can't make ends meet on a $175,000 salary.
Wonder what he says about people on $25,000 or $30,000
and getting
or
free.
$40,000.
And don't they get free health care?
Yes.
The politicians.
Yes.
And free their pension, retirement.
And aren't they public servants?
Boing, boing.
Aren't they public servants also?
They're public servants, so they get free retirement. They get free health care, probably the best health care. $175,000 on top of that per year, and this guy's crying that he can't make ends meet.
Right.
Who is he exactly, or she?
I don't remember who it was, but I believe he was a congressman.
Yeah, I
believe that's his salary. I think senators make more than that.
There's a comedy show on cable called Soup or Talk Soup or something. It's called Soup. It's funny.
Should be Duck Soup, like
Soup.
Groucho Marx.
Yeah, like Groucho Marx. But anyway, they showed the old John Boehner crybaby video last night. When he was getting interviewed by that blonde, and he started about the law school.
Oh yes.
The students in law school won't be able to experience the American dream. You remember that?
Yes.
You and Ozzy Bucco did that. But it's incredible. It's what a drama queen, what crocodile tears. They'll do anything to save a buck or a penny, these Republicans. Anything. Greedy, selfish, miserly, stingy, the Republicans.
But they don't save it. What they do is they take it from the little guy and they give it to the big guy. They don't give it. You got 8 years of G.W. Bush. Did anybody worry about the deficit?
No.
You had Cheney say, Reagan proved that deficits don't matter. all of a sudden, Obama gets in and deficits matter.
So what you're saying is they perform a reverse Robin Hood. A reverse Robin Hood. Interesting. We got to take a break. Greetings. We are back from break. Now we are about to go over some current news topics that are of importance to society, humanity, or perhaps just flat out fascinating. You know, very fascinating. Like it could be science, it could be medical. But I was telling, on our break, I was telling the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, who is my co-host and mentor for discussions, I was telling him that it's very sad that the conservative right-wing Republicans want an America to be this society where the American dream is pretty much only for people with money. If you don't have any money, you do not experience the American dream at all, and you have to pay out of pocket for virtually every damn thing because they want to privatize every damn thing. I mean, every week that goes by, I always hear about something new that Republicans want to privatize.
And in doing so, they favor, get that word, favor those who already have, the haves. They favor the haves of society.
Yeah, the what is it? The elitists, the semi-elitists, the elitists that are to be, you know, the upper echelons. You have to have something in order to get positive things in this democracy, free market capitalism.
No, they
refer
to it as a republic because they don't like it being called a democracy because it's too close to democratic.
Because they don't
so they call it a republic so that it's close to republican.
Because they don't like the idea of people having rights, probably. And with a democracy...
Well, they certainly don't like the little people having rights.
You know, when you have a democracy, you have a Bill of Rights, right? You have, whether it be the Bill of Rights that we have now, the Constitution that's there now, or whether it be what we should have, which is the FDR second Bill of Rights. And that video, that speech by FDR is on the internet, for those of you that don't know what that is. It would have solved all the problems of the middle class and the poor that we have today. The Franklin Delano Roosevelt's second Bill of Rights proposal. So I suggest you check it out. Go to YouTube. Just type it in. Go to Google and look it up. All right, our first article.
The very language of love is painful. You have a crush. You're swept off your feet. Your heart is broken.
Oh, God.
This turns out not to be poetic license, according to the latest research. The brain does not distinguish between the extreme emotional pain of social rejection and the physical pain of injury. Both experiences can activate the same neural pathway.
That's true.
Which is why when your lover dumps you, it can hurt in a real visceral way.
Right, or even getting fired from a job that you loved can be painful emotionally to a certain extent. Sure.
Previous studies have documented the overlap in brain activity between emotional and physical pain, but those focus mainly on the regions that layer on feelings about the bodily pain. That is, the "I don't want to feel that again" response after we stub a toe or something.
Yeah, except for young people getting drunk and throwing their guts up. That doesn't stop them from getting drunk the following week.
Until now, no studies linked purely emotional sources of pain, like heartache or grief, with the neural networks that register the sting of a burned hand. For the new study, scientists recruited 40 volunteers who were recently and abruptly rejected by their partners. Using functional MRI images, the researchers showed that when the jilted participants looked at pictures of their exes, their brains engaged the same pain circuits that lit up when they were probed with a heat sensor.
Okay.
Equivalent to like holding a hot cup of coffee. The researchers think the intensity of the subject's emotional hurt activated the brain's sensory pain pathways that are normally tapped only by physical stimuli such as a slap or searing heat. What does this mean for treating the pain of rejection? Unfortunately, antidotes for physical discomfort like aspirin probably won't help the lovelorn very much.
Now, only time will heal.
Since any reminder of the ex simply reignites the suffering. So for now, time may still be the most powerful healer.
And what would make up for all that time required for healing the emotions would be to meet somebody else that is very compatible with you and hopefully hot looking.
But these
Best way to forget about your miserable ex. You hear that, lovelorn?
But these findings at least suggest that the hurt isn't entirely in your head.
No, it's not entirely in your head. But, Dr. Bill, people that have been jilted or, or broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, well, not men, so to speak, but women seem to require a large amount of time to get over their ex, their hurt feelings. They need all this time and solitude, where men, I think, are more apt to just get right back in there, go out with their buddies, maybe hit the clubs again, or try online dating. Very, very successful today. Online dating, the popularity of online dating is way up there. Very shocked at how many people use it now. It's not looked down upon. People do not make fun of online dating anymore. Very successful, scientific. You can't be totally scientific when it comes to love, relationships, dating, because most of it is chemistry when it comes down to it. Even if the website shows you matches and says that these people are what we found in your area to be the most compatible, the chemistry has to sort of magically happen. Either it's there or it's not there. And
sometimes it can grow there.
Well, it can grow usually when the person is not that good looking. So some people learn to love them. They learn to love the poor soul. But when a person is buffed and has this stuff, woo, then it doesn't take all that long. The fireworks will spark. But other than that, women take a while to get over their ex.
Some of them become so inhibited, revengeful, and armored that they're like prickly thorns thereafter. They
take it out on all the other guys.
Exactly.
That they meet, and honestly, a lot of these guys that the women cry over, you should see these freaks, these dirtbags, what they look like.
It seems that yes, women do have this propensity to be attracted to
sleaze,
the bad guys.
Not only the bad guys,
the snidely whiplashes.
They don't like I guess to them, the straight, honest, respectful, decent man is perhaps boring to these chicks, chicky poos. They want the bad boys, and but the thing is, some of them are downright ugly. I mean, remember the time that what was her name? Angelina Jolie was dating and then married Billy Bob Thornton. What an ugly mother Fletcher that guy was next to Angelina Jolie.
How long did that last?
Didn't last, but they were married, weren't they?
Well, yeah, but in Hollywood, they all get married. Just doesn't last long.
Yeah, you ever notice that? A lot of people are quick to get seriously involved and married without taking the proper time to get to know somebody. You know, it's always better before you meet a new person, if you meet them online, is to have conversations with them for a few weeks or a couple weeks before actually meeting, casually for coffee. I mean, I don't want you guys to get stiff with the dinner bill for somebody who's not your girlfriend. You know what I mean? You're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. But the thing is, get to know somebody and see. On the phone, you do not have that physical chemistry aspect. You're getting to know what's inside of them by interacting on the phone. So, you know, see if you're mentally compatible before you get into the physical. Let's get physical. What was that, Olivia Newton-John?
Young children are drawn to bright colors.
So am I. I like bright colors.
But when these hues are added to food in the form of artificial dyes, do they make kids hyper?
They could have an allergic reaction to them, perhaps. Sensitivity to the chemical.
That's what the FDA is trying to determine.
The FDA always waits for somebody to get sick before they study it.
Who was that doctor who had the book out maybe like 30 years ago? About the dyes. Hyperactivity.
Oh, yeah.
The hell was his name?
I remember that.
Yeah. So the FDA is like a little behind the times?
The artificial coloring is a chemical. It's not something natural. It's not from nature. You can always trust Mother Nature, unless it's a tsunami, you know, or an earthquake.
Don't try to fool Mother Nature.
Or a tornado.
An agency committee is reviewing studies, some dating to the 1970s, that suggest synthetic colorings used in foods like Cheetos, Jell-O, and Lucky Charms can worsen symptoms.
Me gold, me Lucky. Where's me Lucky Charms? I hate marshmallows. If you want to know what James Piranha Madonna despises, I despise. Marshmallows are like kryptonite to me.
They are pure sugar.
I hate them. I despise them.
Can worsen symptoms.
Me Lucky Charms.
Hyperactivity
I'm
in
going to be doing that all
youngsters.
day. Huh?
The dyes are deemed safe for the general population, but increasingly data suggests they may affect kids who are already vulnerable to behavioral problems related to hyperactivity.
They're vulnerable to behavioral problems anyway, even without the dyes.
In previous analyses,
today's little monsters,
the FDA concluded that more rigorous studies would be needed before it made any policy recommendations about artificial coloring.
Yeah, rigorous studies.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, rigorous. My ass. Yeah, you know when they approve things, the FDA, when there's a big bucks to be made. Patented drugs.
They approve things when the big pharma says, "Hey, I don't like that little guy competing with me. Do away with him, please."
They don't like the small business, the entrepreneur.
No, they do not.
They don't like that. That's America. That was originally the backbone of this country.
But you see what happens.
Little guy.
They swallow him up. Tucker, the movie Tucker.
Tucker. Whether it comes to providing jobs, whether it comes to providing services and goods and services, or whether it comes to the little guy improving his quality of life, standard of living, and the little guy is the consumer, and also the little guy was originally the backbone of American business. The small businesses, the entrepreneurs, they're middle-class people. Now they're being strangled by overtaxation, and so companies like General Electric do not have to pay any taxes at all.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Unfairness. The devil's economics.
AT&T is trying to swallow up T-Mobile right now. What improvements will there be for the consumer? Zero.
Well, you know what they did say? They're going to jack up the rates for the people that have T-Mobile accounts.
There you go.
People went to T-Mobile to save money, and now AT&T bought them out, and AT&T is going to jack up their rates, and now T-Mobile people are going to leave T-Mobile and maybe go over to, Metro PCS or Vonage or Boom or one of the other new cell phone providers to save money until some fat cat buys them out. And, it just goes on and on. Why don't they grandfather the rates out of respect for the T-Mobile people? Why doesn't AT&T Wireless simply grandfather what T-Mobile people are paying now and keep those customers? And
probably because they don't want to.
Because they're not fair.
Yeah.
Because they don't give a shit.
And they can do whatever they want.
Because companies do whatever they want because they can.
That's correct.
Not because it's right or wrong.
Right or wrong has nothing to do with a corporation.
No, it's bottom line, right?
That's it.
Everything's about the bottom line.
For now, manufacturers are required to include artificial food dyes in ingredient lists.
Mm-hmm.
But the FDA is weighing whether they should add warning labels, similar to those for food allergies, alerting consumers to the behavioral risks.
Mm-hmm. Just like, I'm not urinating, people. I'm pouring my high antioxidant ORAC scored tea, my medicinal tea, with cloves, green tea, black tea, mixed berries. I am not pissing. Like I was watching, like Vince McMahon, speaking of corporate greed and the bottom line, Vince McMahon on every show, whether it be Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, every show has become now a big promo for WrestleMania so he could rip people off with his pay-per-view event. Typical corporate America. The other corporations are not any different,
The number 2 official of the Agricultural Department recently got a lesson in loose definition of the trendiest word in groceries, local.
Really?
In her neighborhood grocery store in Washington, Kathleen Merrigan saw a display of plump strawberries and a sign saying they were local produce.
Bullshit. No, they're not.
But the package said they were grown in California.
I was just going to say that. Maybe there were Driscoll strawberries, which are the famous big ones. Driscoll. Delicious.
The popularity of locally grown food, which many assume means the food is fresher, made with fewer chemicals, grown by smaller, less corporate farms, has led to an explosion in the use of the word local.
So what you're saying to me is that supermarkets are lying in advertisement.
Correct. It's the latest big thing after the surge in food marketed as organic. But what does local mean? Lacking common agreement, sellers capitalizing on the trend occasionally try to fudge the largely unregulated term.
Yeah, fudge. Right up the ass.
Some grocery stores...
That's what they're doing to the public.
Some grocery stores may define local as within a large group of states, while consumers might think it means right in their hometown. It's a sales gimmick, said Alan Swan, a Maryland farmer, who became frustrated when he realized a nearby grocery chain was selling peaches and corn from New York and New Jersey as local produce. They are using the word local because of the economic advantage of using the word local. A federal definition is unlikely because of the diversity of crops and growing regions around the country. What the hell that has to do with anything, I don't know.
This sounds like it's all about deregulation by politicians.
Exactly.
Of business.
Letting them get away with whatever they want to do.
Deregulation of businesses that conservatives just
like
love.
Wall Street.
Yeah, Wall Street bailouts. Yeah, I know.
A set distance or definition that works for the one state or one crop may not make sense for others. But states have taken a crack at it. Vermont defines local as grown within the state or within 30 miles of where it is sold. Massachusetts has similar restrictions for the word native, and numerous other states have made it easier for farmers to advertise that their food was produced in state. Maryland recently proposed a rule that would require retailers to disclose what state a food is from if they advertise it as locally grown. Maryland Agriculture Secretary Earl Buddy Hance said the state settled on that approach so consumers could be the ones to decide what they think is local. The U.S. Agricultural Department has found that there is no generally accepted definition of local food. With few regulations, retailers have different standards. In other words, different ones cheat you in a different way. That's what different standards mean. Whole Foods Market says a food cannot be labeled as local unless it traveled to the store in 7 or fewer hours by car or truck.
7? So if it takes 8 hours,
not local.
If you hit traffic and it takes 9 hours, 8 hours, it's not local anymore?
No.
Fucking
Walmart.
Bullshit. What fucking bullshit.
Walmart labels produce as local if it is from the same state where it is sold.
Oh, God.
Safeway defines local as coming from the same state, or a one-day drive from the field to the store.
I say the same state would be the fair way to...
That is probably the fair way.
The fair way to determine what is local and what is not local.
However,
produce.
That might need some tweaking when it involves a state like Texas.
It's big.
Big and different environments.
That's
different
true.
Regions.
That's true. You have, I believe in eastern Texas, it's very heavily forested and somewhat cooler. And then you have mountainous areas of Texas. Then you have the desert. You know, and you go from dry to, I think they told me Dallas, Fort Worth is, well, Houston's very humid, hot, humid. Corpus
Houston's
Christi.
on the East Coast.
Yeah, everything on the Gulf of Mexico is hot and humid, and then you go inland, and it's dry.
Or down El Paso way, then you're talking Mexico.
So you have different climates, different regions and different climates, but still, I mean, within the same state. Like, for instance, if a market in New Jersey insists on getting everything local from New Jersey, you know, it would be local New Jersey dairy farms and produce and fruits grown here. You know, they grow a lot of blueberries.
I would have no problem with
tomatoes and eggplant.
Yeah.
You know, and I think artichokes are famous in California. I think California puts out more artichokes than every other country except maybe Italy. I mean, every other part of the world. So it's like California, #1 producer, I think, of artichokes. You know, and so on and so on.
The Agriculture Department says consumer preferences for locally grown food can mean more jobs and profits for local farmers, higher produce sales in stores. The department estimates that locally grown foods will generate $7 billion in sales this year, up from $5 billion in 2007. The department's Merrigan says the local movement has bigger challenges than labeling, such as bringing enough infrastructure to rural areas and widening distribution networks as consumers demand more locally grown food. Restaurants also are hoping to capitalize on the local trend. Dan Barber, the chief of New York City's Blue Hill restaurant, grows much of his own food at a farm outside the city. He says he considers food grown within 150 miles as local. But that definition may not work for everyone, he said.
Okay. Well, my main concern is, personally, I try my best to consume only certified organic foods if it's reasonably priced. Now, if it's a rip-off, I mean, I'm not going to pay $2 for an organic peach or apple, or I'm not foolish enough to do that, but I like to go to farmers markets. Usually what I avoid is the fruits that are very shiny, like that use wax on the skin, because the wax seals in the pesticides, and then in turn you have to remove the skin in order to avoid ingesting the pesticides. So I try to pick the beat up, dirty, dingy looking fruits, which are most likely the more organically grown fruits. But I go to farmers markets to save money. The prices are a lot cheaper. Some people insist on buying everything at their favorite supermarket because they do not want to travel. Well, you know what? It's not practical. You cannot find everything you need at a good price under one roof. You just can't do it. But I'm not going to travel far. I'm not going to drive 20 minutes, to go shopping somewhere else, or 30 minutes. That's foolish, but within reason. You have to be the educated consumer, which most Americans are not. Therefore, that's why we have an obesity epidemic, and that's why the cancer rate is so high. Reverend Bill, I hear that 90% of all cancers are environmentally triggered.
That's what they say, but of course the big companies dispute all that.
Well, they don't want to hear about the toxins in our environment.
No, they do not.
In our water, in our foods, the poisons in our supermarket foods.
They're angels. What they do is angelic.
Oh yeah, no, what they do is more or less profits before people. Profits before people is what corporate America cares about.
The longest study yet on prostate cancer testing provides more evidence that getting screened does not cut the chances of dying from the disease. In a 20-year study of more than 9,000 Swedish men, researchers found no difference in the rate of prostate cancer deaths between the men who were periodically screened, those who were not. Routine screening for prostate cancer is controversial, and the new results are not likely to end the debate about the value of testing. Critics say screening leads to unnecessary biopsies and treatment with little proof that it saves lives. Testing is done with a physical exam and a PSA test. There is no escaping the fact that we need a better tool to help detect prostate cancers that actually need treated, as opposed to innocent ones that do not. In the meantime, men should be fully informed about the pros and cons of having their PSA measured. The PSA blood test looks for high levels of prostate-specific antigen. The test is controversial because the PSA level can be high for many reasons. A positive result must be confirmed by biopsy. If prostate cancer is found, there is no agreement on the best way to treat it. Watchful waiting, surgery, hormone therapy, radiation, or some combination of those. They are never life-threatening, and the treatments can have serious side effects. The study was paid for by the Swedish Cancer Foundation and other groups. It was published online Thursday in the journal BMJ. The American Cancer Society does not recommend routine screening for most men.
Well, of course there are many natural supplements that have a very high success rate that you do not hear on your local evening news, because they're always promoting the drug companies.
Since we had a little discussion on the GE not paying any taxes, I have a article right here which might delve into it a little more.
Because this is not just GE. This is how Washington
60% of all corporations.
This is how Washington is being run. This is the core of the conservative Republican Party that have lied to you. You know, the Tea Party that has lied to the middle class.
Once upon a time, corporations paid 50%, over 50% of the income taxes in this country.
Does that include since FDR, Truman,
Yes.
when the 90 when we had the
and the 91% for the individual rich.
okay.
Yes, that's the point. That's the whole point. The economy was fine, booming, no problems, no revenue problems, and that's the one thing that's off the table with Republicans. No new revenues. Cut, 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 cut. No revenues. No taxes. But that's how the United States became great. Was when it taxed the people with money.
But I notice with Republicans and Democrats, you never hear any of them in the two-party system talk about increasing taxes on the rich.
No.
Not even people making $250,000 or above. You don't hear any of them, either side of the fence, mentioning that as a solution. Their solution is to cut so-called wasteful pork barrel spending. Of course, they're quick to cut programs from the poor, from the lower income people and the poor. That's the first thing that goes, you know. But
Yeah.
they never mention anything about taxing the rich.
Or cutting the real pork barrel spending, which is the military, which is subsidies, which is the interest on the debt,
Yeah.
etc.
You want to cut waste? Start with the military.
Exactly.
You could lob off a good
About 800 billion.
800 billion
Yes, at least.
without, and that's conservative. I mean, that's minimal,
Look,
right?
If the United States only spent $200 billion a year on the military, they're still spending more than any other country in the world.
Yeah.
I believe the biggest country in the world spending on the military is somewhere around 40 something or $50 billion, as compared to the United States this year. If you add it all up, tally it all up, military spending is $1.4 trillion. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the same thing back when we did the treaties with Russia for the nuclear weapons and etc. Well,
Right.
the United States had something like 30,000 nuclear weapons. Enough to blow up the world tens of hundreds of times.
How much do you need?
Exactly.
And this also can be compared to the New York Yankees paying Alex Rodriguez more money than the entire payroll of the Kansas City Royals.
Exactly. For what?
For what? For what? A guy that's not hitting 40, 45, 50, 60 home runs, you know, and RBIs are not, you know, not going through the roof like they should be for a man paid that much. Same thing with the military. You could lob off $1 trillion off the military and help bail out the deficit, you know, instead of cutting the drips and drabs and crumbs from the poor
And
in
when you do
terms
that-
of social programs.
See, the point of it
The
is,
rich should pay for it.
it all goes back to another thing. The Republicans and the conservatives, they would rather give money to their people in Boeing and Lockheed Martin and et cetera, et cetera. If you give the money to the people on welfare, unemployment, and down below, this money goes back into the economy, and it circulates, and it improves the economy. You give it to Lockheed and Boeing, it doesn't do that. And that's why the money has become stagnant up at the top all these 30 years since Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The money has just been funneling up, siphoning upward, and it gets stagnant up there, stays there, never gets put back in the economy. They invested in who the hell knows what. Doesn't create jobs.
And
This is what it contracts the economy.
And this is what the middle class protesters that voted Tea Party, This is what they don't understand because they don't know their history. They don't do their research. Ronald Reagan is the one that shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor in the 1980s. Period. Educate your minds, middle class.
Well, they've been
protesters.
They've been educated over the years to hate their government.
Big government is always the problem to them. Meanwhile, would they really trust the United States being run by corporate American CEOs?
It is now.
It is now, and it means disaster for the mainstream. It means disaster
the
EPA,
for you. The EPA and the Agricultural Department and every other agency, because
Sure.
they've all been infiltrated by these conservative hacks who are there to do nothing but cut programs and don't spend anything.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Climate change is garbage, etc., etc., etc.
Well, when you get a chance this week, find out who that crybaby was that says he can't make ends meet on $175,000 a year. That politician. That should be interesting. I like to pick on him like a vulture for a while. But anyway,
check him up on YouTube. You might be there.
Okay. Now, do you want this to be the last article
Yes.
for the show? Okay. This is about the fat cats not paying any taxes. In this case, General Electric. Continue.
It was reported last week that General Electric paid no federal income taxes in 2010.
Okay.
Should we be angry that one of the world's largest corporations paid no federal income tax while middle income and upper income Americans pay federal, state, and in some cases city income taxes? Americans also pay Social Security and Medicare taxes, state unemployment and disability taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, and a host of utility and other taxes. In short, Americans pay taxes to all levels of government in order to receive a number of benefits from the public sector. More than 15 years ago, I wrote in my Tax-Free 2000, The Rebirth of American Liberty, that we could have a tax-free society. A tax-free society would provide us with all the services we want at low prices, where all able-bodied individuals could find a job, where our economy would no longer be subject to booms and busts, where the poor and disabled would receive assistance solely from the non-profit sector, and where the federal government would not squander trillions of dollars on the welfare warfare state. In addition, a tax-free society would end the free rider problem, inasmuch as everyone and every organization would be tax-exempt. Individuals, families, businesses, and non-profits would have to pay for the services and goods they desire. A tax-free society would end the redistribution of income and bury once and for all the collectivist philosophy of from each according to his ability to pay to each, from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. In its place, real philanthropy would take root across America, as efficient and effective non-profit organizations in every community would replace the unnecessary state and federal welfare bureaucracies. Over the next 20 years or so, we would replace America's two Ponzi schemes, Social Security and Medicare. Throughout society, the virtue of saving for retirement and old age medical care would be elevated to its proper role in America, the ethic of personal responsibility. Abolishing the federal income tax would make it impossible for the warmongers in Washington to send United States troops to invade other nations without a declaration of war by Congress. There would be no preemptive wars, period. The federal government would no longer be able to borrow trillions of dollars because there would be no taxes to pay the interest and principal back. In the meantime, we have to figure out what to do with the $14 trillion federal debt. The American people would balance the federal budget with fees to run the federal government. For example, the gas tax is really a user fee to pay for federal and state highways. Given the conditions of interstate highways around the country, and state roads, the privatization of roads and highways is an idea whose time has come. That's a load of baloney. In a tax-free America, the federal government would be so minuscule, and the budget would be so small, we would all be able to kick in a few bucks a year to run D.C.
Oh, really?
A tax-free society would mean abolishing the Federal Reserve. That's what you do. Returning to the gold standard, no. Real money would end the inflation tax. Now, if you return to the gold standard, that means you contract the money supply. And that means less money available for everybody. So who do you think is going to have all of this contracted money?
The elitists.
That's correct.
And the mainstream masses will be at their mercy and eventually enslaved.
That's correct.
Like the way they want. And their goal is not to pay any taxes at all because they're obsessed with greed. One of the original sins, idolatry, which is the love of money. It's like it's a pathological personality, right? It's the devil's economics, conservative capitalism.
The Federal Reserve has been imposing on the American people for nearly 100 years. In addition, the manipulation of interest rates would end the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve would no longer impose its crony capitalism on Main Street to benefit Wall Street. In a tax-free America, corporate welfare would be abolished. Agricultural subsidies would be abolished. No more subsidies for tobacco growers. Housing subsidies would be abolished, and energy subsidies would be abolished. In short, America would become a bastion of free enterprise. Furthermore, the angst over property taxes, especially in New Jersey, would end as consumers, that's you and me, would pay for education, police, fire, and other services directly, just as we all pay for cable and utilities out of our own pockets. In other words, we the people would determine the structure of the market.
We the people?
Not the producers, certainly not the politicians.
Yeah,
no.
We the elitists will determine.
Yes, there's a
because
point.
Only the elitists will be able to afford to pay for their children for their children's education and tuition. Nothing will be in the public sector, right? It'll be all privatized, and only the people with the bucks will afford the American dream, a good education, good health care. The elitists will have everything, and the masses will have nothing but the opportunity to be a slave.
To work for nothing. Yes.
To work for peanuts.
Or work for survival.
Yeah, just to barely survive.
Subsistence.
Yeah. So when they say we the people in that article, they're talking about we the elitists.
Correct.
We the fat cats, not we the people. How come the local newspaper, the Bergen County Bergen Record, is only giving the conservative side to the story? Why is that?
Because they're a corporation.
Is there any rebuttal? Is there any liberal side to the story?
No.
Really? You know what? I'm gonna send them a message, an email, saying that they suck and that they're a conservative corporate ass-kissing newspaper, and that I will...
Let me finish here, and then I'll tell you who this joker is. And then you can get pissed off a little more.
Okay.
He has shown the way.
I blame the newspaper.
But we can all be tax-free and end the waste of money that is now being spent on lobbyists and tax accountants and lawyers. In short, a tax-free America would finally realize the state of New Jersey's model for the nation, liberty and prosperity. Now, the reason that this sounds so far outlandish to you is because this Murray Sabrin is a professor of finance at Ramapo College and was the Libertarian Party nominee. Now, the Libertarian Party is just, it's finito, okay? It's finito.
They sound like
it's a fiction.
They sound like conservatives to me.
That's correct. On the fiscal side, they are conservatives. Supposedly, libertarian is supposed to be a social liberal.
Really?
And a fiscal conservative.
So
the party does not exist anymore. It's a fiction. It has no It has no place
So
in politics.
if corporate America is outsourcing all the jobs, then how are the masses supposed to afford to pay for all these things out of pocket?
Well, that's one of the fictions.
Professor Murray, what is it, Sabrin?
Sabrin.
The coffee company?
Sabrin.
Sabrin.
S-A-B-R-I-N. Sabrin.
Murray Sabrin, otherwise known as Professor Piece of Shit, from Ramapo College in New Jersey, which is in northern Bergen County. I think it's in Mahwah, New Jersey. Murray Sabrin, Professor Murray Sabrin, jerk-off, libertarian. People have to pay out of pocket? Well, the only people that have to pay out of pocket because you shrunk the government down to nothing, the only people that can do it are the fat cats. People making over $250,000 a year.
Now back to that issue too. Social Security taxes
no jobs out
fall upon the middle class and the poor, of course. The rich do not pay them. Once you hit 106,800, I believe it is, they no longer collect Social Security taxes from you. So it's a free ride for the rich after that. Whereas we below that figure continue to pay every year. So there's another example of your free ride, welfare for the rich, and never having paid their fair share. And then, when they retire, of course, they get their little stipend from Social Security. And they really need it, don't they?
Oh, they really need it. Like that guy, yeah, like the politicians making $175,000, which probably includes Chris Christie. You know,
I believe his salary is around 174.
Congressmen, senators, you know, I mean, it's, my heart really bleeds for you people, really. And you don't want to pay any taxes at all. Look, GE, no taxes, even though they lied. You know, and the people that are suckered, the corporate ass-kissing middle class that are suckered to believe the Tea Party, they still insist that the rich pay too much in taxes. The rich pay the tax burden. These jerks over on YouTube keep on telling me that the rich are paying the burden of taxation. It's a lie. It's a complete lie. It's a total lie.
Remember, 400 families in this United States, the top portion of 1%, own more than 90% of those below them. Something wrong with that picture?
Definitely something wrong with that picture, man. Anyway, we're going to take. It's really a shame. I mean, this when it comes to end time Bible prophecy, the destruction of the United States is definitely coming true. I mean, it's
not only that,
it's destined in the Bible prophecy.
Not only that, if you believe in the Bible prophecies and understand what's going on in the Middle East right now, with Tunisia and Libya and Egypt and Bahrain and all the others,
right?
Because they will be involved too, Morocco and Ethiopia. What is happening is the United States is putting into place the King of the South, which is the Islamic extremists, most likely led by Iran. So all of these places that democracy is raising its head, Egypt and it said, no, democracy will not flourish there. And it will be Islamic extremists.
And the King of the South will set up everything for the beast and the Antichrist later on. The emergence,
the King of the South will push at the King of the North, which is the Holy Roman Empire, led by the Catholic Church.
Now that's another...
And the King of the North will go against the King of the South and crush its ass.
Well, this is another show. We should actually... We've already beaten to death American politics, international and domestic politics. We've beaten it to death.
But nothing will change.
But we should do a show strictly on end-time Bible prophecy and the role the United States plays in it. Strictly Bible study, but fire and brimstone end-time Bible prophecy. Heavy-duty stuff only. We won't talk about Lady Gaga or Gugu or Alex Rodriguez or Justin Bieber or the other one, or how Enrique Iglesias is pissed off because he's performing with, what is it, Britney Spears. He's opening up for Britney Spears, and he wants to be the main attraction. None of that bullshit. No music industry, no entertainment industry, no wrestling, nothing frivolous. We should do strictly end time, heavy duty Bible prophecy, and just
remember, as I've been preaching for years, and Gary Null the other day.
Oh, and Snookie and the other one that's going to appear in my town, Kim Kardashian. I can imagine how much the cover charge is to see her. By the way, Charlie Sheen is appearing at a club here in Carlstadt, New Jersey. $42 a ticket to see Charlie Sheen. I'm all about winning. Winning, Charlie Sheen. Winning, I'm a winner. I'm winning. Winning. And his eyes are bugging out. I'm about winning. Pay $42 to see me. And then Kim Kardashian, she's not rich enough. She has to come out with her own line of clothes. Her mother is like, she's got her money, she must have incense in her mansion that smells like money. Her mother. All they are is about money. Now she's a designer, and now she's public appearances. I'm sure she's not doing it for nothing. Come on, give me a break. It's ridiculous. No more frivolous crap. Now, what were you saying before?
As I say, I've been preaching for years. Gary Null says the other day on his show, we're not out here, you say that we've beaten it to death. We haven't beaten it to death because we're not aimed at those who already have their ideology and are not going to change. You've got to reach the other people who are still open.
You mean independent free thinkers that will say to us, wow, I did not know that was the real hard-hitting truth that's going on in America. I did not know that. I believe what I heard on the news. I believe what my friggin' corporate ass-kissing Bergen Record wrote, or I believe what the Tea Party people tell me. I didn't know that, guys. I'm totally shocked. You knocked me right over. I'm totally floored. These are the people that we have to target.
Reach, right.
Not the lost souls, the ideologues, the people that only go by an ideology and gut feeling, and only vote Republican because they're just a bunch of holy roller Christian religious nuts.
That's what they want. They want you to give up on trying to get the other people to see your point of view. That's what this is all about with them. That's why they got all the think tanks. That's why they got all the big the lobbyists in Washington. That's why they write the laws for making policy for the United States, because they want you out of the picture.
They want you out of the picture.
Right.
And we're talking about all the lemmings from the red state, the Bible Belt state, the traditionally conservative states that always vote Republican because of ideology. Not because of real cold, hard-hitting scientific fact, but because of ideology. If you're right to life, you're in. If you're pro-choice, you're out. If you're pro-stem cell research, because you have compassion for the paralyzed and the sick people and the handicapped, oh, you're out. Stem cell, oh, you're playing God. Heaven forbid you should have compassion as a Christian, huh? These people are like lemmings. They're in a spell, like the people that follow, what was it, Jim Jones and committed suicide in Guyana.
And they're evil. They're evil.
They're evil. This is Satan. This is Satan. The devil's economics, conservatism, is satanic. It's the devil's economics. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman has proved it for many years.
The devil appears as an angel of light to them.
And all the nations are deceived. In
Revelation 12:9.
Revelation 12:9. All the nations.
The whole world is deceived.
The whole world is deceived.
So, if they think they're saved and they're doing God's work and etc., they're calling God a liar, because God says, "You're all deceived."
They're all deceived.
All except my elect.
And these people are hypocrites, and that pisses God off a lot. Hypocrites.
It pisses us off, actually, because God really is not really concerned in that sense right now with the world, because it's not his. He's only concerned with his little brood that he is bringing to maturity,
to govern,
to be able to govern with him when he comes.
The second coming, yeah.
That's all he's interested in.
But no, that's a whole nother show. We're going to take a break. That's a heavy-duty show. But we're going to take a break, and like Dr. Bill told me, my mind is open now. We need not to worry about the conservative ideology people, the lemmings that only vote Republican no matter what, because they're a bunch of nuts. You know, they're a bunch of evangelical right-wing fundamentalist nuts, like the jerk that burned the Koran. We shouldn't be worried about them. We should be targeting however many independent, free-thinking, open-minded people are still out there that do not have access to the real hard-hitting truth. Do not have access to the hard-hitting truth. So we're going to take a break while Dr. Bill takes his nutritional supplements and partakes in high tea, high green tea. I'll be doing my usual promo for discussions. All right. Greetings. We're back. Now, before I do promo, I was just talking with the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, who is taking his nutritional supplements and drinking his green tea. There's an infomercial where they have these like Amish people making fireplace mantles, you know, old world craftsmanship from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and these so-called Amish people are wearing jeans and they're looking directly into the camera and everything. They just don't seem Amish to me, really. So I think they're using the Amish in Lancaster County and country, old-time country craftsmanship as a sales gimmick, which goes back to what we were saying about conservatives deregulating companies and allowing them to lie to the consumer. And then, of course, the conservative politicians say, buyer beware, and, you know, oh, you're a sucker? You got ripped off? Well, too bad. You know, it's like...
Sorry, no protection.
There's no
protection for you.
There's no consumer protection whatsoever under Republicans, under conservatives. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is with them. So you want to vote for them? You want to vote for them, you idiot fools, American fools, who are the joke of the world? Continue. This is what you're going to get. Deregulation, the right to rip off the consumer, the right to lie to you. And it goes on and on. Absolutely no protection of the consumer whatsoever. Okay, now, promo. This painting next to me, this gentleman that you see every week, is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. And you can see the William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor art by going to www.newslettercensor.com, www.myspace.com/megalife21. You can go to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile and see them there also. And if there are any that you like, drop him a line, ask him if the painting is still available. And if it is, you can purchase an authentic, fine watercolor painting signed by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, my co-host, mentor, and founder of Newsletter Censored in 1977. The bidding starts at $500. Fine watercolor art by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Now,
you might wish to show that one that is in process.
Oh, okay.
In process.
This one here?
That one.
Now, this is your present surviving kitty cat. Her name...
My new kitty cat.
Her name is...
Who came to visit and decided to stay.
She came to visit, to say hi, and she decided it was such a great home, the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. She decided to stay, and now she is their new cat. The name is PC, right?
PC.
Now, what percentage would you say this painting is done? Roughly.
25-30%.
Done.
Yeah.
This painting is not finished. It's still in the embryonic stage. It is 25 to 30% done. Okay? That is this painting is being painted based on a digital photograph of the cat. But it is not finished. You people out there that don't understand. It is not finished. 25 to 30% done. I don't want people sending me notes. Sending me emails over on the internet criticizing the kitty cat painting. It is not done. It is 25% to 30% done only. It needs more work. I have to talk this way.
Yeah.
All the Jersey Shore Snookie fans out there.
Hey, she's got 32,000. Maybe she can afford one. Man.
Then she wrote a book.
Jeez.
I think she got a lot of help writing the book. But anyway, this only in America can an ignoramus be successful, just by sheer luck. MTA, man. If MTA approaches MTA, what am I saying? That's the New York subway system. If MTV approaches somebody on the street and says, "We want to make a reality show with you in it. You want to be a star?" Hey, they'll be a fool to say no. So I don't blame the cast whatsoever on Jersey Shore. I blame the idiots that pay the bucks to have them
Isn't that on Fox News?
To have them make a public appearance, $15,000 for the situation or Snookie. I think the price went up to make an appearance at a club, at a local club in New Jersey. Oh, I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
Isn't Jersey Shore on Fox?
No, it's music television. It's MTV.
Oh, MTV?
It's MTV.
Okay.
But most of them are not even from New Jersey. But just to give you an example on how classy it is, what it takes to make a lot of money in America. One of their cast members, by the name of JWoww, there's an episode where she decides to urinate on the floor, on the carpet of a dance club behind the bar, and then she washes her urine down with the seltzer spray connected to the bar, while Snookie was yelling at her, saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You got to be kidding." At least she's nice enough to scold her. But JWoww, just a lot of class. She just pissed right on the rug. She could not go and find the ladies' room. Maybe MTV told her to do that for ratings. Maybe it was put up for ratings, because come on, man, you know where the ladies' room is. But anyway, this is 25 to 30% done. PC. All right. Well, it's the name of the cat. All right. Now we go to the very backbone of this organization. This is what started it all. Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. This is it. This is the underground media. This contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. This is the best way to be a part of our organization. Simply go to www.newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. This is the last issue. There's a new issue coming out now. This was The Hidden Enemy, and it contains the political monologue, censored by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. And then there's The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. Sometimes followed by Tidbits, which is current news topics. Sometimes containing health talk by yours truly, James P. Madonna. And then last but not least, Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. And the next one is...
Yes.
Go.
Go ahead.
Explain what the title of the new newsletter.
The new newsletter, excerpt of Sexuality, A Holistic Approach, is dealing with analism.
Analism?
Anal sex.
So the topic of the brand new newsletter censored issue, Sexuality or a Holistic Approach, will be dealing with anal sex, analism. The first time that subject was ever the first time that subject was ever probed. Get it? The stiff shillelagh? Probing? I'm serious. It's not a comedy. It's a serious, in-depth probing of the subject of anal sex, of analism. Or is it analism?
Analism.
Analism.
Anal sex.
Coming from the word anus. Uranus. The planet Uranus. So that means if they found an alien race on the planet Uranus, they would all be gay? I don't know. Anyway. I don't know. That's what is that? That new show with RuPaul. A crazy show. Anyway, the point is this. The point is this.
All these double entendres.
Oh God!
Just get the issue and
get the issue. Read it. Now, what is the from a serious note? The topic of the new issue will be something. Listen, little man.
Oh, the political. The featured article is "Listen, Little Man and Woman,"
and that is connected to the late great Dr. Wilhelm Reich.
Well, he had a book called "Listen, Little Man." This is just pointing up all of these things and trying to get the little man interested in what's being done to him, and to have him stop bending over and allowing them to plow him all the time.
Exactly.
Man.
Wake up, America. I mean, it's bad enough we lost such a fantastically powerful show as in Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory. You don't even see the reruns anymore on True TV. Shame on you, True TV. Shame on you. You know, the powers that be probably put pressure, along with the sponsors.
Of course.
Politics and the sponsors probably forced True TV to take Conspiracy Theory off. But let me tell you something. Every single episode that was ever made of Conspiracy Theory is in a convenient YouTube video playlist, which is on our Mega Life 21 hard-hitting internet talk radio station. You just go there, click on it. That's if the show's not on the air. Click on it and you can see every single episode, so you're not going to miss anything. We will still promote Conspiracy Theory by Jesse Ventura. Now,
you know what I believe?
You think I should put all the videos on the MySpace page? You think so? Because they're on the radio station page, and if people are there and and our radio show is on the air, they won't be able to view the videos. They have to wait until our show is off the air, which would be...
then put it on the MySpace page.
Well, our show is not on the air Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I don't know. It's debatable. I don't know. I got to think about it. But anyway, it's there.
You know what? I believe the show that, if they were knocked off, I believe the show that did it was the FEMA camps.
The infamous FEMA camps. That show is in the playlist. The infamous FEMA camps that nobody seems to have any, from the government, nobody seems to have any information about. They wouldn't tell Jesse's people anything about the FEMA camps. Like social unrest, if it ever occurs. You know, like if the elitists start rounding people up that do not want to comply and become slaves to the fat cats, maybe they want to round them up and put them in concentration camps. Social unrest.
Yep.
Protesting, violent protesting, eventually, because people will become desperate. The end times. This is perfect segue for ending this week's show to set us up for an end time Bible prophecy show. Okay, social unrest, possibly martial law.
World War III.
World War III. The poor, the middle class slowly becoming poor, where you only have two classes left. Desperation.
The haves and the have-nots.
The haves and the have-nots. The get and the take way of life. The get or the take, is that how you say it?
Well, I think the get and the take are both the same, aren't they?
No, the get, wait a minute.
Give, it's get and give.
The get and give way of life.
But the little guy keeps giving and giving and giving until he ain't got anything anymore.
It all comes down to the devil's economics versus God's economics, which is really not political at all. But, you know, what it comes down to, Dr. Bill, is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Just doing the right thing. It doesn't take any high intelligence to know what the right thing is and what the wrong thing is. It's just probably these people, these elitists don't care.
Of course they don't care.
They don't give a rat's patootie.
They don't care about supporting their country. They don't care about supporting their neighbors. They don't care about any of that. Yet they go to church every Sunday. And they claim that they do. There's the problem. People let them get away with it.
And they claim that they do.
Instead of calling them out.
Counterfeit Christians. Hypocrites. Interesting. It's interesting how they call us progressive liberals wicked and unsaved souls. It's funny how they do that.
Secularists.
Secular humanists.
Yeah.
But who are the true Christians? Who has the true compassion? Not the conservatives.
Nope.
No. And you know what? The Democratic Party is selling out to the conservatives and the elitists. So the true progressive liberals are not necessarily Democratic candidates. So anyway, thank you for joining us for discussions. We'll see you next time. Say so long.
Hasta luego.
Hasta Winnebago.
Winnebago.
Hasta lumbago. Man, gotta love that topic. Anal probing. I mean analism. Gotta love it.
Anal sex.
Anal sex.
Yeah.
All right.